Hi, I'm Gareth Thomas and this is my book Proud, and I'm very proud to call it a definition of who I am. I think for me, probably at this moment in time, it would be playing on the first ever game to be played in the Millennium Stadium, and it's the first one and only time Wales has ever beaten South Africa, and I represented Wales in that game, which was, a massive achievement for our country. Probably I'd say my first game as a captain here in Bridgend, to run out again. For me to lead a team out just meant so much to me. I thrived on the responsibility of being the first person out and the last person back in, and making the decisions that define whether you win or lose a game. And probably the first game I captained Wales in the Millennium Stadium, so to have run out on that stadium so many times prior, but to run out of it as a first person, when you run out with a little mascot who's unprepared as I was, to run out into like this field of noise, and you're the first one to enter it, and you have the first cheer, that is always the loudest one, and you run into it, you just break this wall of sound, and the realization that you're leading your country out in a sport that's our national sport and a sport you love. I think probably for me was in the old National Stadium before the Millennium Stadium was built, and played a game against Australia, and like that old National Stadium had so many memories because the great guys, Gareth Edwards, the JPRs, the people of the 70s had graced the field. So it was, a place filled with legendary ghosts. And I managed to score, it was classed as the longest solo try. It was a 97-metre interception against Australia. And I remember, running it and scoring the try, and then watching it a couple of weeks later and thinking, like, I've run the length of the field that Gareth Edwards scored the memorable try for the Barbars against New Zealand on, and JPR's run this, and Gerald Davis has run this. And I just felt, again afterwards, because I think everything's good to remember, afterwards realising that I left my own little mark in a stadium that was filled with the greats of Welsh rugby. So, to have something that's classed as the longest individual try on there, so to get spoken in the same breath as some of the greats, to me, means that one will probably stick out. I've always respected everyone I've played with and everyone I've played against. I think that's kind of like one of the first rules of rugby. But to me, there's great players, but there's great people that I've got to know who have been great players because they're great people and they have good values. And like Martin Williams, who's been a massive figure in my life. He, to me, again, epitomises everything I feel rugby is about. He's a great man, he has great values, he's hard-working, he loves the game. And again, another guy that I think I was blessed and lucky to have played with, and couldn't call a great friend, is Shane Williams. I do believe that rugby is the ultimate team sport, but when you can have somebody, one person, when they touch the ball in what is an ultimate team sport, people get off their feet and people gasp and people take a breath because they think, what is he going to do next? I think makes them great players. So, the two standout people that I've been lucky enough in my life to have played with and have respected probably as much as anybody else as a player, but as people probably respect them more than a lot of guys I've played with, is them. And then obviously we have Ian Compo Greenslade, who when I first came to Bridgend was captain, and he really showed me, I think he showed me a lot about how I should be as a player, as a person, what rugby means to the town, and captaining this club at a young age and learning from him on how I should work and interact with the changing rooms, and how to deal with winning, how to deal with losing, how to deal with sulking, and everything that kind of comes with being a captain. I owe a lot to him for that. And also then Glenn Webb, who was different because he was black, and in the times when I started playing rugby there weren't many black players around, and a lot of them got a boost, and I just liked the way he used to, I used to be in awe of the way that he would deal with the way he got a boost, and the way he could laugh everything off and kind of be almost like this person that everything that you throw at him would just rebound, and nothing would affect him. And I learned a lot from him psychologically in preparation for what was about to come in my life.